New Chief Justice of Nigeria takes oath of office, promises to strengthen the law and good governance. Senate halts customs clampdown on vehicles with irregular import papers. And the acting president meets with the people on the streets of Benin City. Welcome to NTN Network News with me, Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has sworn in Walter Samuel Onogen as the 15th Indigenous Chief Justice of Nigeria. The acting president called on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to ensure that justice delivery is truly just and fair to all.
My Lord, you assume this position at a crucial time in the history of our nation. It is a time when all arms of government have suffered loss of confidence from the people of this nation. And it is so also with our judiciary. It is a time when, my Lord, and justices of our courts are called upon to resuscitate that confidence that the people of this nation want to have in the institutions of government and indeed in the judiciary. I pray that your tenure will revive and sustain that confidence.
Acting President Osinbajo, who also described Justice Onogen as the right choice for the nation, used the opportunity to convey President Buhari's wishes to the new Chief Justice of Nigeria on his appointment.
I had a discussion with the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, and not only did he extend his personal warm wishes and congratulations, he asked that I personally convey that to you, and I do so now.
The new Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, thanks the President Buhari for finding him worthy of the appointment. He promised to keep the oath of the office in the interest of law and good governance.
I am out to make sure that the integrity of the judiciary is not only restored but sustained.
By virtue of his appointment, Justice Walter Onogen was conferred with the national honor of Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo. Justice Onogen from Cross River State was born in 1950 and became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court in 2005. Still at the presidential villa, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has emphasized the President administration's commitment to revamping the rail sector as part of measures to open up the economy towards achieving developmental goals. The Acting President stated these at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Lagos-Ibadan Rail Project in Lagos. Becky Madujemo reports.
That symbolic move by Acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo signals the official takeoff of the Lagos-Ibadan Railway Project with extension to the Lagos Port Complex in Apapa. While stressing President Muhammadu Buhari's resolve to upgrade Nigeria's transportation sector with a view to lowering the cost of movement of cargo, Professor Osinbajo told the gathering of dignitaries that the rail projects will generate employment for thousands of Nigerians. The acting president pointed out that upon completion, the projects will ease movement of goods via the rails, thereby reducing the impact of articulated vehicles on Nigerian roads. This, he noted, will save the country from constant road repairs. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode echoed the submission of the acting president.
The direct benefit of this project is that containers and goods from the Apapa ports will now be transported by rail, then reducing the number of trailers and even get available from the roads.
Policy makers in the sector, including the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, revealed that the Lagos-Ibadan Railway project is one of several to be constructed by the present administration.
There are about 30 million tons of freight between Lagos and Kano. We are gradually going to ease off that freight from the road to the train, to the railway, and that will encourage activities.
Good transportation is the center of development, industrial growth, and is the best way to communicate one-on-one when you have good rail system in a country.
You have the ports linking to the rails, linking to the road. That is when you can have enhanced distribution and an enhanced transportation system in the country.
The groundbreaking ceremony was not without goodwill messages. The 156-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan double rail project will be executed by the China Civil Engineering Construction Company. The 458 billion naira project will be completed in 18 months' time. In Lagos, Becky Madujemu, NT News.
Still on transportation, the runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, will shut down for rehabilitation by midnight of Wednesday the 8th and not March the 7th as circulated in some quarters. This clarification comes through a press statement from Press and Public Affairs Department of the Federal Ministry of Transportation. The public is hereby notified that the airport remains open for operations until the midnight of Wednesday, March the 8th, 2017. The press statement also announced that government has also concluded all arrangements for the complimentary transportation of passengers to and from Kaduna as soon as the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport shuts down operations. For security reasons, however, initial screening of passengers and luggages will be done at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, while the boarding screening will be effected at the Kaduna Airport. Minister of State Aviation Hadi Sirika appeals for public understanding as he reiterated that the decision to shut down the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport is in the interest of all. At 12 midnight Wednesday, 8th March 2017, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, will be shut down for the first time in 35 years for 6 weeks to allow repair works on its only runway. While air passengers have described the idea as a welcome development, local airline operators expressed readiness to begin operation at the Kaduna Airport, which is the alternative airport. Emmanuel Ayimero has this update.
Air operations and business activities have remained at their peak at the Abuja airport as passengers are busy making efforts to catch their flights to their respective destinations before the closure. My interaction with some air passengers gave an impression that they are not ignorant of the intention of government to repair Abuja airport runway, which they say is well conceived.
Now, coming to Abuja is going to be very painful and laborious, quite all right. But when you look at the greater picture, we are talking of public safety. We are talking of international reputation within the aviation industry. So I think government is doing the right thing.
Whatever would give the traveling public, consummate travel comfort, I am favorably disposed to those.
What I just want to beg the federal government for is that they said it's going to take place, the repair will be done for 6 weeks. We don't want to hear a story that after 6 weeks, they need 2 more weeks again to put it in place. People won't want that.
From information gathered, all local airlines have released a new schedule for their operations following the planned closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport and the diversion of traffic to Kaduna Airport.
We are ready, 100% ready to operate from Kaduna. Already we have a stand in Kaduna already.
As Abuja Airport closes for 6 weeks, concerned business operators have this to say.
We have millions of people that are feeding from this airport. Kaya is one side. There are so many other people that are feeding at the airport. So it's going to affect a lot of people. So we pray that we have other things that we can cope with within that period.
It's not going to be easy for us, because we that is selling food here, that 6 weeks is going to be, it's not a problem for us. My plan is that to go back to my house.
The new flight schedules are to be operated for 6 weeks, after which airlines would be expected to resume flight operations at Abuja Airport when its runway would have been completed. Manuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Senate has advised the Nigerian Customs Service to hold its intended clampdown on dealers and owners of vehicles with irregular papers. The decision followed the adoption of a matter of urgent public importance raised by Deputy Senate Leader Bala Ibn Allah, who described the intended clampdown as unwarranted and obnoxious. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayanu has details.
Dealers and owners of vehicles with irregular custom duty papers have been given between Monday 13th and Wednesday, April 12th to regularize them or forfeit such vehicles. Senator Bala Ibn Allah frowned at the decision and called for its stoppage.
That the Senate do hereby resolve to direct the Nigerian Customs to stop all actions regarding the implementation of the said circular until it appear before the Senate Committee on Customs to explain in details the purport of the circular to the Nigerian public.
Other senators contributed, supporting the Deputy Senate Leader.
Not even the National Assembly itself can impose punishment on some offense that was committed many years ago. It cannot happen. If we cannot do that, the custom cannot do it either.
You now say that the person who bought this vehicle without any fault of his own, without knowing how the vehicle was imported and paid for it, and you say that today you are going to mount checkpoints and block the roads to seize people's vehicles.
A bill for an act to amend the compulsory free universal basic education sponsored by Senator Aliu Magatakada Wamako passed through a second reading. Senator Wamako said the bill seeks to amend the Principal Act, strengthen states to meet their commitment to the federal government block grant.
The bill seeks to amend Sections 1 and Section 11, Subsection 1A and 2 of the Principal Act by increasing the federal government block grant of not less than 2% of the concerted revenue fund to 3%.
In a lead debate on a bill for the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture, Kaba, Senator Dino Melaye said his bill seeks to encourage advancement of learning and to hold out all persons without distinction of race or political conviction.
This bill is a bold step towards not only addressing the educational needs of the populace, but it will also serve as a training ground for the development of agriculturists across the country.
Meanwhile, the only senator from the Labour Party in the 8th Senate, Ovie Omoagege, has defected to the ruling APC. The defection was greeted by other APC senators.
My decision to leave the Labour Party for the APC is supported by the leaders and constituents of my senatorial district.
Two other bills that passed through second reading were also referred to appropriate committees for further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayanu, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act. It also mandates its Committee on Financial Crimes to carry out an inventory of all forfeited assets with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to ascertain their legality, conditions and values. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko reports.
The ICPC Establishment Act provides that any asset or fund seized by the Anti-Graft Agency should be forfeited to the federal government. This has been the practice since its establishment in 2004. 12 years after, members of the House of Representatives are now seeking to amend that section to provide that seized assets or funds be forfeited to the original source of the crime. This implies that embezzled state government funds should be forfeited to that tier of government and not the federal government, as sponsored by Representative Edward Pojok from Plateau State.
That is justice, other than depriving the state of its money and then the money goes to another source.
The House adopted a motion on the need to investigate the resettlement and compensation activities of the Federal Capital Territory, moved by Representative Timothy Golu from Plateau State, and that moved by Representative Alexander Adekola from Ekiti State, for the federal government to deregulate kerosene to check cases of scarcity.
That the federal government adopted the relocation and compensation policy in order to resettle indigenous people from the FCT.
For once and for all, Nigeria should settle these people.
For over 20 years, if not the recent resettlement and compensation exercise, nothing has been done.
That the dual purpose kerosene DPK that serves as a common domestic product for the average Nigerian has become a scarce commodity.
The high rate of crime in Aba, Abia State featured on the floor as members urged the Inspector General of Police and other security agencies to deploy more personnel to the area to check the increasing incidents of killings and kidnapping as moved by Representative Prestige OC from the state. It also urged the federal government to intervene in the ravages caused by gully erosion in Emu Town, Esan Southeast local government area of Edo State, moved by Representative Sergio Sogun. Meanwhile, the leader of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajabia Mila, says the planned visit of members of the House to South Africa will bring a lasting solution to xenophobic attack against Nigerians in that country.
One, we will attempt to meet with the South African Parliament to discuss the possibility of both our countries enacting hate crime laws.
The House leader noted that a 6-man delegation will also seek compensation for victims of the recent attack. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The Oba of Benin, Ewari II, has appealed to the federal government to intervene in the boundary conflicts between communities in oil-producing areas. The Oba made the appeal when he received the acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, in his palace in Benin City. Ive Omorui has the details.
The acting president was accompanied by the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, and other top government officials. The Oba of Benin, Oba Ewari, appealed to the acting president to intervene on the border conflicts between the Ijos and Edos, which he said needs urgent attention. His Royal Majesty stressed the need for the federal government to return the 38 oil wells ceded to the neighboring state. He condemned the xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
I'd like to pray that this matter be put to rest now, so that the efforts of His Excellency the Governor and the palace can take off, relatively well there without any more interruption.
The acting president said the federal government is determined to develop the oil-producing areas. He said his visit is to address some of the issues raised, adding that communities must learn to coexist through dialogue and amicable resolution rather than resorting to violence.
For us, the federal government is really committed to trying to develop all of the different natural areas where export-free zones should ordinarily occur. And of course, Gedegede is one of them.
The acting president witnessed the coronation of the Oba of Benin. His visit this time has raised the hope of the people of Edo State. In Benin, Ivie Omori, NTA News.
To further demonstrate that the federal government means business in ensuring peace in the Niger Delta region, shortly after the town hall meeting, the acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, took a walk and met with the people on Benin City. Ogochukwu Honor has the report.
Expectations were high as there was an overflow. Those who could not gain access to the Samuel Ogbemudia Hall, New Era College, waited patiently to catch a glimpse of the acting president, whom some of them may just be seeing live for the first time. And then he emerges to the warm embrace of the people. Those who spoke off camera say this is true democracy in action, as the acting president, in all humility, mingled and interacted with them along the road. This came after some youths protested peacefully in the hall, requesting that the acting president's visits to each of the oil-producing communities would not be a bad idea. In Benin, Ogochukwu Honor, NTA News.
The All Progressives Congress, APC, has congratulated the acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, as he closed 60. The party noted that Professor Oshibajo has demonstrated a high level of loyalty and commitment to the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, and the party noting that his wisdom, vigor, and innovativeness have been essential to the numerous achievements recorded by the administration. At 60, the APC noted that Professor Oshibajo has recorded several landmark achievements as a man of God and man of law. These accomplishments, the party says, have no doubt shown through as he holds fort for President Muhammadu Buhari. Similarly, the Senate President, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, and Speaker, House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, while congratulating the acting president, prayed God to continue to give him good health and enduring grace to serve the nation. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Still to come, Chief of Army Staff promises to review cases of 524 dismissed soldiers. This and more after this break.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
My name is Wizkid, and this is my Sulere. For those of you not from around here, Sulere means patience has its rewards.
I was the youngest of 4 children. That's where my friends and I used to rehearse before I got signed. A lot of this becomes a part of you, becomes a part of your sound. Like I said, I never had patience. It took years for anyone to listen to you. Data changed all that. Now anything's possible. If you want something, run full tilt at it.
In this 24/7 upload, download, share it, like it, tweet it, post it world, your life can change in a second. But the only question is, are you ready for it?
Enjoy the fastest 3G and 4G data speed nationwide at the same price. Dial *777#.
I am Wizkid. This is my Sulere, my Echo, my Niger, my network.
The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list, starting now.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Gioni M6, always in power.
The Federal Road Safety Corps wishes to remind the motoring public, especially commercial vehicle operators and drivers, that enforcement of the installation of speed limiting device and calibration to stipulated speed has commenced. This is in line with agreement reached with all stakeholders. The enforcement drive has resulted in the arrest, prosecution, and jailing of defaulters who were made to install the speed limiting devices before their vehicles were released. Don't be caught on the other side of the law. Install your speed limiting device now. Assist to crash the crash. Let's together make our roads safer. FRSC Management Announcer.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships, and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Special announcement. The Presidential Committee on Constitution and Electoral Reform will hold a public hearing for the Northwest Zone in Kaduna as follows. Date, Wednesday, 8th March 2017. Venue, Umaru Musayer Adwa Hall, Murtala Mohammed Square, Kaduna State. Time, 9 a.m. prompt. Memoranda are expected from state governments, state assembly members, youth groups, women groups, political parties, professional bodies, civil society organizations, and academicians from the Northwest Zone. For more information, contact the committee secretariat on 0809-550-2583, 0806-972-5453, 0803-611-1164, or you can send an email to cercsecretariat@gmail.com. Signed, Senator Ken Nnamani, GCON, Chairman, Dr. Mamman Lawan, Secretary.
The attention of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, has once again been drawn to the nefarious activities of some criminal elements in the society who have devised yet another devilish method of defrauding unsuspecting members of the public by impersonating the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Engineer Babachir David Lawal. They seek monetary gratifications from their victims who, as usual, they are sure of employment in the public service or outright political appointments. Department of State Services, DSS, and other security agencies have been informed and are working assiduously to curb the occurrence of this ugly phenomenon. Some culprits have indeed been apprehended. For the avoidance of doubt, some of the numbers they used are as follows. Members of the public are therefore hereby advised to be aware of fraudulent callers impersonating the SGF and indeed other top government functionaries. The general public are once again reminded that the federal government of Nigeria has established verifiable channels of communicating with individuals, groups, and organizations. If in doubt, contact the press unit, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Shehu Shagari Complex, Abuja, for clarifications on all matters of public concern. Bolaji Adebiyi, announcer.
Thank you for remaining with NTN Network News. Nigeria has been given a clean bill of health by members of the United Nations Security Council on assessment visit to the Northeast Geopolitical Zone. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyama stated this at a media briefing in Abuja. Gabriel Odu has the report.
The impending humanitarian crisis in the Lake Chad region, and particularly in Northeast, prompted the visit of the United Nations Security Council for an on-the-spot assessment of the roadmap put in place by the government.
Another fact that we had to bring out to them is that the people in IDP camps are probably less than 30% of all the internally displaced persons, that a lot of them are being housed by communities, you know. Another issue, of course, of interest to the international community is with regards to human rights. We were able to communicate the steps that are being taken.
Other issues the minister briefed on include respect for human rights, de-radicalization, girl-child education, and health infrastructure. The Minister of Youth and Sports also briefed on grassroots sport development in the Northeast. Other areas discussed were the xenophobic uprising in South Africa, insisting that no Nigerian died in the attacks. Rumor on ban placed on Nigerians traveling to the United States was also disputed. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army is to revisit the case of 524 dismissed soldiers. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said this while discussing with the Chief Commissioner, Public Complaints Commission, Emmanuel Ogbole. The Commissioner explained that though the Commission is empowered to conduct proactive, reactive investigation and dispute resolutions, this group of soldiers approached the Commission to intervene and represent their various cases to the Nigerian Army.
Tender justice with mercy. They did not come complaining that we should intervene and resolve a dispute, because this is not the case we would ordinarily be intervening to take a decision, but to move their records to you, so that you will look at them and take a decision as you consider is appropriate.
General Buratai promised to critically reassess the dismissed soldiers' files in the interest of justice and fair play.
Case on its own merit, and I assure you that it's going to be resolved in the best interest of the Nigerian Army.
The Chief of Army Staff also played host to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Disabled Matters, Dr. Samuel Ankeli, where he promised to sustain the projection of the welfare and interest of the physically challenged persons in and around the Nigerian Army. Meanwhile, a new director, Defense Information, has been appointed. He is Major General John Inenche. He replaced Brigadier General Rabe Abubakar, who is now the Director of Information Management in the Department of Civil Military Affairs, Army Headquarters. Until his appointment, Major General Inenche was Defense Liaison Officer at the Defense Headquarters. It appears the People's Democratic Party is making headway in the current efforts to resolve the lingering leadership crisis, possibly using political solution. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Bendankudu has an update on the situation as the PDP's reconciliation team begins consultations with the two disputing groups.
The intervention of the party leader and former President Goodluck Jonathan gave rise to the use of political solution to resolve the PDP crisis. Senator Ahmad Makarfi, in an exclusive interview with NTA News, said his group is willing to accept genuine reconciliation efforts are ready to sacrifice for the party.
Let me remind you, we are a product of these organs of the party. We are not occupying this position because we sought for it or because we have a set agenda, we want to achieve anything personal. Not at all. If today a viable, genuine, generally acceptable political solution should be found, we will embrace it.
At the party's national secretariat, the national chairman, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, continues to hold consultations with party leaders, among whom a group called Patriotic Northern PDP Stakeholders, led by Senator Ibrahim Nasir Mantu, and the PDP Reconciliation Committee, led by Governor Sariaki Dixon of Bayelsa State.
Following this template, with adjustment here and there, set up a national convention planning committee that should not be like other ones before now.
I don't have a problem. I'm not against it. I'm not opposed to it at all. Party politics is about people. And nobody does it alone. President Jonathan has spoken to me, and I told him I am not opposed to it.
The success of the reconciliation efforts may lead to resolving the issues at stake out of court. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
Synergy between stakeholders has been identified as key to achieving the much-needed compliance and enforcement of the speed limiter device. This was part of discussions by the Co-Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyemi, and the leadership of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Nupeng branch when he paid them a courtesy visit. Ado Adamu has the report.
With the enforcement of the speed limiter device across the country last month, the Federal Road Safety Corps is partnering with key stakeholders for full compliance. As part of the drive, the Co-Marshal of the Corps, Boboye Oyemi, was at the national headquarters of the Petroleum Tanker Drivers Nupeng branch. The Federal Road Safety Corps is devising means of collaboration with key partnering agencies to ensure smooth compliance. The Co-Marshal commended the union for keying into the initiative in an effort to make roads safe for all. While commending the tanker drivers for their level of compliance, the Co-Marshal stressed the need for synergy among stakeholders. He assured the tanker drivers union for continuous support, especially in the area of manpower training.
It's not that we are not recording one or two crashes, but the frequency has reduced, and that we need to sustain this.
Responding, the national chairman, Salmon Oladiti, commended the leadership of the Corps for their collaborative posture and assured them of the union has mandated all their loading terminals to include the device as part of their vehicle safety requirements.
There's a need to let each and every one of us work interwovenly to make sure that we save life and property.
The collaboration is one in a number of synergy by the Federal Road Safety Corps to ensure smooth compliance. In Abuja, Ado Adamu also, NTA News.
Wife of the President, Aisha Buhari, has congratulated the acting president on the occasion of his 60th birthday. In a statement, the wife of the president observed that the years spent on building his reputation in multiple capacities have resulted in his ability to to carry out his duties in line with the manifesto of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and to ensure the realization of a better Nigeria. National Museum set for limelight as Information and Culture Minister partners Lagos State Government. This and more from Vera Chumba in Lagos. Hello, Vera. Over to you.
Thank you, Kudu. Good evening. This is Lagos. The federal government, in collaboration with the Lagos State government, has concluded arrangement to restore the lost glory of the National Museum, Lagos. This is with a view to repositioning arts and culture for national development. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, made this known at the official launch of the new museum described as the dividend of the partnership between the two tiers of government in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the story.
The National Museum Lagos is home to thousands of objects and artifacts that tell the story of Nigerian hospitality, resilience, patriotism, unity in diversity, and self-governance before the era of colonization. This national monument has degenerated over time, thereby posing a great challenge to preservation of the nation's cultural heritage. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the launch of a new world-class museum with more than 3,000 square meters of gallery spaces offers the desired solution to the challenges of preservation of national artifacts and provides an enabling environment for tourism, arts and culture to thrive.
We were striking a partnership between the state and the federal government in a manner that will be able to preserve our arts, preserve our culture, and then build a museum that will be truly worthy of our country, of our heritage.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode stressed that the move is in line with the commitment of his administration to bequeath the younger generation with undistorted historical values.
We have decided to lead the process that will deliver a world-class museum that will showcase to the world the priceless treasures of Nigeria.
There was a panel of discussion to shed more light on the economic potentials of developing a national museum. The official launch of the new museum attracted veterans in arts collection, exhibition design, as well as art enthusiasts and administrators from various parts of the world. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
The head of civil service of the Federation, Winifred Oyo-Ita, said African youths are capable of exhibiting quality leadership character. She said this while interacting with the participants of the second cohort of Young African Leadership Forum training at the Administrative Staff College, Tope Badagry. Tunde Saiking has more.
The head of the civil service of the Federation, Mrs. Winifred Oyo-Ita, who described the young Africans as critical group in the continent, stressed the need for them to be well nurtured and grown to become the change agents. She urged the participants to utilize the knowledge they have acquired by impacting the society positively. Mrs. Winifred Oyo-Ita reiterated government's willingness to continue to support the yearly program, which is aimed at bringing out the leadership qualities in the youths.
Now behoves us in Nigeria to continue with the program. I find it to be an extremely important program. You can see the quality of young people we have here in West Africa.
Earlier, the acting director general of the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, Mrs. Cecilia Gaya, commended her for sharing with the participants her wealth of experience and what it took her to get to her present position. Some of the participants described the interaction with the head of the civil service of the Federation as worthwhile.
Brilliant, very opportunistic, because we never had this chance back in Ghana. But we saw a dedicated woman, selfless woman, who dedicated all her life to serving young people. And I'm very glad she had interacted with them.
I'm excited about what this trip means to us and what this trip can do for us as young adults and as Africans.
The second cohort of the Young African Leaders Initiative has 104 participants drawn from 9 African countries. They are undergoing a 6 weeks intensive training on public policy, entrepreneurship, and civil society development. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Young and inspiring entrepreneurs have been charged to experience opportunities and create strategic business plans towards achieving a unique brand in Nigeria's competitive business market. The Chief Executive Officer, Ebony Live Television, Mo Abudu, stated this at the 2017 Women in Management Business and Public Service WIMBIS in Lagos. Abolede Salami has more.
Businesswomen, captains of industry, serial entrepreneurs, and inspiring business owners converged on Mission Center to be integrated on discovering their business purpose and marketing strategies, as well as knowing the north and boats of doing business in Nigeria. Chairperson Wendy's Executive Council Aisha Ahmed said the aim of the scheme is to evaluate the status of businesswomen and influence their contribution to nation building. She added that Wendy's over the years has provided platforms to increase the success rates of female entrepreneurs.
As women we inspire, we empower, we connect. And over the last 15 years, I'm proud to say we've engaged over 80,000 women across our various platforms and programs.
Keynote speaker Mo Abudu challenged women entrepreneurs to engage more in planning and execution of business ideas devoid of procrastination.
Times like this, it's important not to panic. It's important to stay calm. It's the time to really be as creative as we can, be as innovative as we can, and to think out of the box. We need to look within.
Meanwhile, at the interactive session, participants were further enlightened on areas of achieving successes in business.
Start your own little business, and you'll find that with time, it's going to grow, particularly if you stay close to winners. Don't just come out to say you want to do something, but if you don't have the education, don't aspire to be what somebody else.
The 12th annual lecture of Wendy's as its theme, bold steps in the face of uncertainty. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the NTA Network News, reaching you live from the Lagos Network Center. We have more reports ahead on the news from Abuja when we return after this time out. Don't go away.
They brought us per second billing. From day one, God makes life easier. They brought us per second billing. Unbelievable data packages. And even an optic fiber cable to make sure we optimize. There are two things in our lives we depend on: the communication and information, voice and data. Whether you sell, buy, learn, teach, serve, or lead, it really comes down to those two things: voice or data. Today's world is all about you. You want what you want, how you want it, and Glow delivers. That's why Glow is introducing Flex, the freedom to use voice and data the way you like on every recharge. No plan, no hassle, easy.
Now on every recharge, Glow Flexi gives you the freedom to use voice and data as you like. Another first from Glow. No bundles, no data plans, no hassles. Just data. Fosters of data.
It's finally here. Most anticipated sports show on live television, featuring great sports icons from ex-internationals to famed journalists and administrators. It doesn't come bigger than the Sports Parliament. Be a part of the biggest sports talk show on television to help chart a successful path for Nigerian. 11 p.m. to midnight on Thursday on the NTA. Sports Parliament, where the eggheads converge.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You're watching NTA Network News from our Abuja studios. Central Bank of Nigeria boosts market liquidity with the sale of $367 million at the interbank foreign exchange market. For details, let's join Vivian Idekbefo on Business News.
We thank you for joining us on this segment of the bulletin. The Central Bank of Nigeria has continued to intervene in the interbank foreign exchange market with another $367 million to meet forward requests by customers. Operators in Nigeria's banking sector have commended the initiative, assuring the public of their readiness to meet demand once all prescribed requirements have been met.
The whole idea is to ensure that it is channeled towards the purpose for which it is meant for. For example, in the case of school fees, now we have to pay directly to the school.
The CBN has directed all commercial banks to meet customer demands within 48 hours or face sanctions. Meanwhile, latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics reveal that the total value of Nigeria's external trade was 17.35, representing a 6.5% increase over 2015. The fourth quarter trade was valued at 5.28 billion naira. The export component stood at 2.98 billion naira, while the import component stood at 2.31 billion naira, leading to a trade surplus of 601 billion naira. Crude oil exports had the largest share of 2.43 billion naira, representing 45.9% of trade in the fourth quarter of 2016. And now to the capital markets. The Nigerian Stock Exchange records a 2.23% gain Tuesday to close at 25,129.27 basis points. The volume traded moved up by 68.04%. Now the graphic summary of the closing figures. And that's our package on this segment. Stay tuned for the rest of the bulletin.
The Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, has declared 2017 as the year of the consumer in its bid to empower the Nigerian telecommunications subscribers. NCC Executive Vice Chairman Professor Umar Dambata stated this at the Commission's special day at the ongoing 38th Kaduna International Trade Fair. Ndeyang Andiabangyang has the report.
Communications Commission has over the years been facilitating the provision of quality and affordable telecom services in the country. To this end, the Executive Vice Chairman, represented by the Director of Consumer Affairs Bureau, Ifeanyi Kenaya, said they are committed to strengthening regulatory functions towards fair competition and sustainable growth of the telecoms market. He noted that huge opportunities are bound for investment in the sector, which has continued to grow. And consistent with the Commission's 8-point agenda, it has declared 2017 the year of the consumer.
We want to also empower you in many ways. You know, just like I said, information and education is empowerment. And a lot of goodies are there for the telecom consumer in 2017 and even beyond.
The trade fair provides opportunity for the Commission to meet with telecom consumers towards providing answers to their inquiries and solutions to issues affecting the consumer.
The power of choice must be in the hand of consumer to choose what to have and what not to have. Okay? All we are waiting for is give us evidence of violations and we sanction.
Guests at the special day commended the Commission's effort at ensuring seamless service. They were later taken to the NCC stand at the fairground and further enlightened on the workings of the telecommunications regulatory body. In Kaduna, I am Nigerian and Abuja, NTA News.
A campaign on the need to respect intellectual property and rights of authors have been taken to the academic environment. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that the Nigerian Copyright Commission took the campaign to the University of Abuja. The report.
Business centers such as these are common sites in higher institutions of learning. This is where students make photocopies of books and other learning materials, a practice that some of them are ignorant about its implications.
Sometimes we do it, there are some textbooks that are very expensive, so you can't really afford it.
Those people, they are wasting money on their resources in order to make these materials available for us.
Let it from any other person that must have buy it, they will make photocopies for ourselves.
In its efforts and commitment to educate as well as sensitize the students, officials of the commission visited the institution towards developing a vibrant copyright culture. Record shows that between 2011 to date, the Nigerian Copyright Commission has carried out about 295 anti-piracy operations and apprehended 644 suspected pirates.
At some time in their lives, they may become authors, and if they don't learn to respect other people's intellectual property, others, may not obviously learn to respect theirs.
You don't learn only how to protect your work, but you now have the encouragement, the guts, to take legal actions.
The sensitization seminar is expected to acquaint students with basic concepts of copyrights and related rights and their relevance in their educational pursuits. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Up ahead, global tidbits and sports update after the break.
The place of women in development is the focus of NTA Tuesday Live as Nigeria marks International Women's Day. Tuesday Live, informative, educative and engaging. Don't be told. Join us.
Following the approval of the whistleblowers policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, patriotic Nigerians have been making inquiries on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud to the appropriate authority and answers to frequently asked questions. The Federal Minister of Finance has therefore dedicated a telephone line for receiving SMS, a whistleblowers portal, and an email address through which members of the public who volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation could deliver such information for the attention of the team dedicated to process such information.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC impacts upon everything we do, including water we drink, the food we eat. They are important organs to the development of this country. And everybody should come out and join them and support them and help them to achieve the greatest benefits and success that they need to the country.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Thank you for remaining with NTA Network News. Chibinda Martin Debisi is here with global tidbits.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, on a visit to Somalia, has held talks with President Mohamed Abdullahi on efforts at preventing famine and improving security. The visit, the United Nations chief says, is to put in place a response mechanism to address the devastating drought and cholera outbreak. Somalian government announced that 110 people had died within 48 hours. Mr. Guterres is calling for world's quick intervention as Somalia is part of the 4 countries on the $4 billion aid appeal launched last month. On the new executive order signed by the United States President Donald Trump banning 6 countries from entering the U.S. for 90 days, the countries alongside the United Nations have condemned the move. Sudan and Somalia say it is unjustified. Sudan is also calling on the U.S. to remove its name from the list of countries supporting terrorism. In the meantime, North Korea and Malaysia have banned each other's citizens from leaving their countries as the row over Kim Jong-nam's murder deepens. That's Global Tidbits. Chimdema Ndubisi, NTA News.
Kene Emmanuel has the sports update.
20 cricket players are in Abuja camp ahead of the senior men's ICC regional qualifier Africa Division 1 tournament holding in Johannesburg, South Africa next month. The team, which is expected to be in camp for about a month, will start their trial matches on Thursday ahead of final selection of 14 players before departing in the first week of April.
You know what happens in the past, that those who represent the country, they know they come here, they just come to make, let it be, and at the end of the day, because they are sure, they're always sure they will go for the competition. But that is not the case right now. We have gotten young boys who are very, very hungry and who wants to wear the country's jersey.
Chief of Administration, Nigerian Navy, Rear Admiral Henry Babalola, has advocated holistic approach to school sports development as an avenue of producing talents for the country. Speaking to correspondent Tamara Epiwe in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Rear Admiral Babalola said Nigeria will benefit more if products of school sports are properly harnessed.
As a product of school sports, I represented Kaduna State at the Nigerian Secondary School Sports in 1979 in Owerri. Secondary school events, they fill stadiums, and something just went wrong somewhere.
2 rescheduled Week 8 matches will be played in the Nigeria Professional Football League midweek. Bottom-placed FC Ifeanyi host Remo Stars, while Kano Pillars welcome Wiki Tourist Bauchi at the Sani Abacha Stadium, Kano. The ongoing Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Zambia will see host and Group A winners Zambia play South Africa midweek in the first semi-final of the championship, while Senegal, who finished top in Group B, will take on Guinea in the second semi-final on Thursday. With Sports Update, Kene Imabodike, NTA News.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has said he is saddened with the news of the sudden death of a veteran journalist, playwright, and a politician, Dr. Adinoyi Onukaba. The acting president, in a statement by his special assistant, described the deceased as a brilliant and multi-talented journalist and a technocrat who symbolized hope, integrity, and decency, with a passion for excellence and community development. The acting president said Dr. Onukaba, who, as a biographer of former President Olusegun Obasanjo and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and co-authored a biography of late Delegiwa, will be remembered for enriching Nigeria's history with his simple but incisive style of writing. A delegation from the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, led by the Executive Director of Programs, Mrs. Eugenia Abu, has commiserated with the family of the late Martha Kande Audu, who died recently in Kaduna. Ahmad Muhammad Usman has the report.
Late Kandamata Audu was one of the pioneer staff of the defunct Broadcasting Company of Northern Nigeria that later metamorphosed into the present-day NTA. Explaining the concern by the extended family, leader of the delegation and executive director programs, Eugenia Abu, described the deceased as somebody who was always willing to impart knowledge and an epitome of humility.
You know, Mrs. Martha Audu lived an exemplary life, and she was a mentor to so many people across the country.
Another delegation from the Area Consultative Forum, led by Colonel Paul John Uba, retired, were also at the house for condolence.
So she was a great woman, and her passing will create a vacuum difficult to fill.
Friends and relatives of the deceased comment on the lessons learned from her.
Mama has been there for us. She's a very strong woman. You know, she's very prayerful.
And she loves people. Even when she was in the hospital, she was always smiling.
Mama Mata Gawon Audu, a veteran broadcaster, a founding member of Jam'iyyar Matan Arewa, is a younger sister to Nigerian former military head of state, General Yakubu Gawon. In Kaduna, Ahmad Muhammad Usman, NTA News.
With that, we conclude NTA Network News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Entertainment, the first, breaking the news. We are Africa.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hear the call of change, stand up, Nigerian.